Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to go over my favorite fall palettes. I've seen this go around a lot. Fall palettes, spring, things like that. Very seasonally based palettes. And I do tend to wear my makeup kind of seasonally. I have my favorite palettes that I use all the time, year round, but there are some that just feel more fall or more spring than others. And so I wanted to highlight my favorite fall palettes. I have a lot. Fall is my favorite. I love fall and winter, grungy, kind of smokier, darker. I love cool tones. And actually, now that I'm looking at my little pile, I think I'm truly lacking like a cool toned palette, but that's okay. Because we're focusing on fall. Maybe I'll do this again in the winter time and pull the palettes that I gravitate more towards in the darker, gloomier, drearier months that winter usually yields. But without further ado, let's start with my favorite fall palettes. I feel like some of these will come as no surprise that I am including these in a fall palette roundup. And I'm going to do the first palette as a twofer because I think these two go great together, and they are none other than the Melt Gemini 1 and 2. Gemini 1, if I didn't have the Gemini 2, I mean, hands down, fall in a palette. It's perfect. Everything about this, well loved. A perfect fall, grungy palette. Perfection in a palette. When they came out with the Gemini 2, I didn't think it could get any better, but it did. And these tones, again, so autumnal, so fall, and I love it. I've actually reached for this palette probably more this fall thus far than I have the Gemini 1, but it could be because it's still like just new to me, right? I'm still just, the novelty of it hasn't worn off, but it has quickly become a favorite. I think it complements the Gemini 1 so perfectly. So, and these are the only Melt palettes that I own. I have some Melt liquid lipsticks, which I love. But these are the only Melt palettes I own. I love a lot of the stuff that they put out, but at this point in my palette career, I really should stop buying palettes. So, starting off strong with the Melt Gemini palettes. And then I'm going to pull the Anastasia Beverly Hills and Jackie Aina palette. I don't know why this one screams fall to me. It's probably one of the more colorful palettes that I have in this pile. But yeah, I think especially this little area right here, very fall to me. And they're beautiful, and they're just so beautiful. This palette never disappoints. These shimmers right here, also very fall. So it's just a perfect palette to use this time of year. They're very warm tones, they're very cozy, they're easy to grunge up and build up, or do like a one and done with some of these shimmers, or even like this is one of my favorite matte shades. Super easy one and done, and it just looks amazing. So good. Very rich colors. I love it. Also, as comes to no surprise, ColourPop Good Sport. We saw this coming. You had to see this coming. This is the best palette that ColourPop has ever put out, I believe. But I do feel like mine's gone off. The mattes are okay still, but I feel like the last time I wore this, it gave me dermatitis, especially within the shimmers. So I actually don't use this one as much anymore, but I look at it a lot. I do. I look at it and I admire it. I'll probably never get rid of it. I'll keep it forever. I just think it's one of the most unique palettes that ColourPop has ever put out. And I will probably keep using this as a highlight. This one doesn't seem to bother me as much, but I want to hit pan in this. If I hit pan in this, I will have done my due diligence in using this palette for as old as it is. I wish I had more pans. I wish I was closer to more, but I'm not, and that's okay. In the same ColourPop train, the Gather Round Sisters, the first Hocus Pocus palette that they put out, also perfect for fall, very autumnal. I truly love this palette too. I don't reach for it as much anymore. Well, that's not true. I found myself not reaching for it much until fall. It was like, I hadn't forgot about it, but I would pull it out occasionally and just be like, I'm not feeling it. It's summer, it's spring. It just wasn't like calling to me. It wasn't speaking to me. But this has been actually on my desk, on my little beauty desk for a while now, because it's fall. And I did a look just the other day with these two. I did Coven and Come Little Children, which they're both, what do they call these? Are these like the sequin mats or whatever? They have the shimmer through thems. They have the shimmer through the mat, and once you buff it out, it's not super shimmery or glittery. And I just thought it was like a really simple but very pretty look. I loved it. So firmly in the fall palette. If I were ever to do like true seasonal makeup, that would be like top of the pile. All of these would be. But I do feel like some of these, like Jackie Aina, year-round goodness. Gemini palettes, year-round goodness. ColourPop Good Sport, ColourPop Gather Round, strictly autumnal, at least to me. Just my opinion. Another one that I like to use year-round, but also feels very fall, feels very late summer, fall to me, is the Natasha Denona Bronze palette. I actually bought this for my birthday. So my birthday's like straight summer in August. And I always I'm never disappointed in this palette. I think it's so pretty. And it has those warm tones, very golden, makes me think of the leaves changing colors. I love this palette. I love this palette so much. I get a lot of use out of it. It doesn't look like it, but I feel like Natasha Denona palettes are very, very pigmented. A little goes a long way, so it's going to be a long time before I hit pan in those. But bronze palette, I love it so much. It is a year-round palette, though. I do use it all the time. It just feels especially perfect for fall. We're getting down to the last few. I don't know why I thought this was going to take a lot longer. So this will be a nice quick video for you, hopefully. But I have just a few left. This is a newer one that I have in my collection. It's called Gilded Terra by Milani. And I also feel like this is going to be a very good winter palette. Like the jewel tones really speak to me for winter. So it's a good like bridge between fall and winter. I think this palette is perfect for that. Mostly because of the jewel tones. Very winter, but they, again, those warm shades, the rich tones. Again, I feel like golden hour, leaves changing, right? Smoky, grungy, deep. Perfect. Fall, baby, fall. Avocado Toast by BH Cosmetics. Again, grungy, green. Maybe earlier fall, like the bridge of summer to fall, because these are, again, leaves changing color, but there's a lot of greens in here. So like when the greens, as they're getting darker and drying out. So yeah, very fall-esque, but more colorful. One of the more colorful palettes that I have. And I think the Milani one's pretty colorful too, in terms of all of the other ones being warm tone neutrals, as I tend to lean towards. You can really see my preferences in this pile of palettes because they're all warm toned neutrals. Not a lot of vibrant, rich colors, but very good for fall. But if I were to like walk you through all of my palettes, I think they would really lean towards that warm tone neutral. I like what I like. I'm not even justifying, I'm not apologizing for it. I like what I like. I love warm tone neutrals. I am a palette person. I don't do singles very well. Very seldom do I find myself wanting multiple singles to make a look, or do I even dip into multiple palettes for a look. I just want to make looks from one palette. I'll make a look from a palette, and tomorrow I will use another palette. But I digress. I have one more perfect fall palette, and that is the Brew palette by September Rose Cosmetics. Again, another year-round palette that I use. I use this, probably one of my most reached for palettes. Never steers me wrong, never fails me, but also very fall. Got the warm tone neutrals, very pigmented and rich colors. Any one of these colors at all, any one of these shades, perfect one and done, minus like that one. That one actually packs no punch for a white. But every single one of these, perfect on its own. There's only 2 shimmers, but the shimmers go with every shade in this palette. They go good together. It's a perfect palette. Those are my palettes. Those are my fall palettes. I'm trying to think. This is like a very new one to me, the Michaela Tin Pan palette. It's pretty autumnal. It's pretty fall. It's a little too soon to tell. Like, I've only had it for like a week or so, and I've been wearing it. What am I wearing today? I'm actually wearing it right now. I'm wearing the 2 browns and then this shimmer called Teddy. So very fall, very autumnal. But I also feel like that's just because it's truly what season we're in. And it's a warm tone neutral look. So I feel like that's giving this palette a lot of credit for it being so new to my collection and it currently being fall. Right place, right time, if you know what I'm saying. So we'll honorable mention for a fall palette. I'm gonna look through my palettes one more time. How could I forget? How could I forget the Antiquity palettes? How could I forget this? Truly a great fall palette. And what I love about this is even the colors in here I find to be truly autumnal. Like, I think, and I saw somebody post this, I wish I could remember who, but they talked about like teal being a really nice underdog of fall colors. Underdog? Underused? Underutilized? I don't remember what the word was. It's also late in the day and I'm tired. But perfect fall colors. Like, great. Oh yeah, just a really good fall palette. How could I forget the Antiquity palette? I'm a silly goose. I love this palette. This is a great year-round palette as well, but even more perfect in the fall. I think that's it. I thought about not an honorable mention. Not an honorable mention, but I thought about including this NARS Summer Solstice palette, but it's called Summer Solstice. So, makes me think it's more of a summer palette. It's also very reminiscent of the Bronze palette, but I do feel more fall and autumn with this palette than this one. And maybe it's just because I'm easily swayed by names and words. It says summer in it, so I'm like, yeah, it's a summer palette. So, not an honorable mention, just a fun comparison and semantics. So yeah, I think that's it. Round it up, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. 10 if you count these as one, because I truly do think of them as one palette, even though there are 2 of them. I just think they go together so well. So 10/11 palettes that I think are truly perfect fall palettes. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this little roundup of palettes. Which ones are your favorite? Do you agree with me? Do you think these are all very autumnal in nature? And should I do this again for the winter? Do a roundup of a winter palette? I can already think of some that I would automatically just like be like, yes, winter, 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 winter. So if you're interested, I'll probably do it anyways. But if you are interested, let me know and I will prioritize that as we move more into the winter months, and I will make sure that I film that. But thank you for joining. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, like this video, all those fun things that help engage on YouTube. If you don't follow me on Instagram, same as my username here, it is Beautybrarian. I would love to see you there. And I'm also more active on there. So I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, week, month, whole year, and I will see you in the next one. Okay?